Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last session of the 6-week series on raising emotionally healthy children. I'm so excited about this one. This training will focus on bullying and friendships, and I'm so excited for our presenter who has been going on all these 6 weeks, Tyjalea Robertson. She is going to be expounding on just ways to distinguish between bullying and positive peer influences and more. I just want to give a recap. Week 1, we discussed tips for recognizing depression in adolescents. Then week 2, we talked about anxiety. Week 3, we talked about social media. Week 5, we talked about grief and loss. And here we are with excuse me. Here we are with week 6, talking about bullying and friendship. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce the lecturer and the teacher, the psychoeducator of this session, which is Tyjalea Robertson, and she is a registered AMFT and also a registered associate professional clinical counselor, and she also has her MA, her master's in clinical psychology, with a focus in marriage and family therapy. So she's going to introduce herself for a little bit and then go into the training. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to Tyjalea.
Yes, thank you, Brooke. Yes, we reached week 6 and we touched on a lot of good topics. So if you have been to some of the previous sessions, you know that here and there you see a little bit of the faith integration. That is something that is particular to my therapy style. I'm able to do it for those clients who desire that and seek that, or individuals that I'm speaking with and teaching to. So you will see that on tonight. I will go ahead and share the PowerPoint. We are talking about bullying and friendships tonight. So yes, we are clinicians, we are counselors in the mental health field, but a lot of that also includes social relationships. So that is why bullying is a relevant topic to some of the information that we've been sharing with you all over these weeks. Okay. And then Brooke, will you let me know if you can see my screen?
All right, I'm able to see your screen. Well, prior to the full screen.
Put it in presentation mode.
Still loading.
Okay. Okay, it's loading on my end too. Oh, you see it?
Not yet.
Come up in a few seconds.
There it goes.
Okay. Okay, so yes, we'll be talking about bullying in friendships as it pertains to our teens, right? Our adolescents. And that's whether you are a parent of a teen, a family member of a teen, you're a counselor, or you're a clinician like us, you interact with teens, or there's some teen in your life that you would like to take this information in for, just so you can be a resource and a support to them. So our scripture is coming from Proverbs 18:24. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. So when we talk about the companions, we know that there's a lot of people that your child may be around or interact with day to day. Do they necessarily qualify as your child's friend? A lot of times, no, right? And then so it says there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And so it's distinguishing that common companionship or company and an actual friend, right? And this is something that your child will need to know the difference between as they are growing and developing. So what is a friend, right? So these are some of the things that your child will learn as they are going through life. Some of the things you may have said to them already or will discuss with them. And everyone has a different standard for their friendships or definition for it. But for the most part, these things listed here are usually common characteristics of what most people would consider a friendship or expect the friendship to include. And so usually within the friendship, there's some degree of a commitment, right? Both to the friendship as well as the person's well-being. So your child should know that, yes, your friend should actually care about you, right? Like it shouldn't just be we hang out, we have a good time, but they should care about your well-being. They should care about your health, and that things that things are going well, right? That you are okay. They should be able to consider you in that way if they are actually a friend to you. Also, the desire for regular contact with the other person. Now, regular, that could be any frequency, right? It could be every 2 days, it could be every 2 years, right? The point is, or the focus of this bullet point is just implying that your friends, you typically want to spend time around them or be around you. At some point, you're going to have a desire to either want to reach out, call, hang out, versus if you hear your child talking about this particular friend or a particular friend or group of friends in a way of like dread, like they don't really want to be around them, they don't really, then you would kind of ponder with your child, well, is this someone that you do consider a friend? It doesn't really seem like you enjoy their company or want to be around them, right? So typically a friendship with someone is also going to show up in the way that you like being around them, you like their company. Also within a friendship, or a healthy one, is mutual trust, concern for one another, right? And compassion, and being able to understand one another. A lot of times people develop a friendship or are able to maintain friendship or close friendship with each other because there's a level of shared interests, opinions, beliefs, or hobbies, right? Maybe they do something together, whether it's they're on the same sports team or into the same type of sports. Other interests they have, a lot of times shared beliefs is what brings people close together in friendship. And so it's not to say that your child can have a friend who has a difference of opinion or different hobbies and interests or even some different beliefs. But for the most part, friendships do typically develop when these things are shared. And so similar to the next bullet point, a shared knowledge about one another's lives, emotions, and fears is also usually present within a friendship. So they actually know what's going on in each other's lives? Or is this just, we just hang out when we see each other at school, right? That may just be more so of an acquaintance, not so much an actual friend or close friend that they can deeply depend on and consider, a friend and more than just a companion that they interact with from time to time. And that also includes like, do they know some of their, friends' fears, passions, like desires, those more vulnerable and things of depth and substance is usually is what's going to separate friendship from the common acquaintanceship or companionship that you have just with day-to-day interactions with others. And then lastly, friendships also include feelings of love, respect, admiration, or appreciation for one another. So after we've discussed friendship, we're going to get into the bullying, right? Now, why is bullying or just the topic of friendships amongst adolescents important? Is because about 20% of students between this adolescent age, 12 and 18, have experienced bullying somewhere throughout their lifetime, right? During those age ranges. And this is nationwide, right? So this is across the US. And that basically means 1 in 5 students, right, have experienced this, will experience this during their adolescent age. And so what is bullying though, right? How do we distinguish when it's like someone just being mean or has said something mean, or I am actually being bullied? So for you to know or recognize whether what your child is bringing to you is just a friend that might have said or done something that was a little offensive, or is your child actually being the victim of bullying, is for you to know what bullying is. So bullying is purposefully hurting others with words or actions. Purposefully is underlined because, again, there's times that we're going to hurt others. Your child is going to hurt others. Your child's friend is going to hurt them, right? By something they might have said or something they might have done. It's because we're human. It happens. However, if your child is experiencing that this person or this group of people are purposely intending, like they actually have the intent to hurt your child with the things that they're saying or doing, then this is stepping into the territory of bullying, right? It's so easy to miss bullying, and we're thinking, oh, that's just how kids are. That's just how, that it is actually bullying, and we can call it by what it actually is, right? To know how to deal with it. And so also, not only is there purposeful or an intent to hurt, but it's constant, it's repetitive, right? They're doing this over and over and over. So picking on others repeatedly. So it's not just a one-off situation where someone said something that was hurtful, or that person they call a friend said something hurtful or did something hurtful. They're doing it regularly. When this repetitive variable or aspect to the hurt comes into the picture, we're dealing with bullying. We're dealing with a bully. And also, typically, there's some level of perceived power that the bully feels that they have over this person that they're picking on, or if it is your child, right? And that maybe they're bigger, physically bigger than your child. Maybe they are older than your child. On the school grounds, you have the different age, the different grades, right? And sometimes they do interact with each other. Sometimes recesses or lunches cross each other. So maybe they're older than your child. Maybe they are in a group of peers that outnumbers your child by themselves, or your child and the people your child hangs out with. Like, maybe they have this perceived power in the by number, right? There's more of us than there is of you. So typically there is some level of power imbalance or perceived power that the bully feels they have over the person that they pick on, or your child. And then lastly, bullying is important for us to discuss within the mental health field, because it impacts your child's emotional, mental well-being, right? We already mentioned stressors that trigger some of the mental and emotional challenges that adolescents can experience, such as depression, anxiety. We talked about that. Remember when we talked about the stressors that teens are up against, one of them that you guys did mention, or that we had discussed, was bullying. Things going on at school socially, right? It can truly impact your child and what they're believing about themselves, what they're experiencing and feeling. And because these mental health challenges, they're not always primarily psychological, right? Sometimes it is an environmental factor that has triggered or brought on the onset of this depression they're experiencing, or this anxiety they're experiencing. Another thing that could become a heightened risk for them when they're experiencing bullying is also PTSD, right? The things that they are experiencing at school from a person or a group of people, especially if it's bullying, could cause them to be traumatized by what they experience on the campus grounds, right? It can cause them to have, begin to go into suicidal ideation, right? I got to come to school and I'm up against this every day. I'm tired of this. I just want this to be done and over with. So it can put them at these increased risks for these things. And so that's why it is important for us to talk about these social dynamics that are a part of life and that some of our children may experience. So there are 4 types of bullying. There's physical bullying, verbal, social, and cyberbullying. Physical is obvious, right? We all know that one. There's hitting, kicking, pushing, tripping involved, right? That the bully may be doing against your child. When it comes to verbal abuse, right? This is like name calling, teasing, mocking your child, making hurtful comments, or making threats. And then social bullying is an interesting one, because it is it's a little less direct. So spreading rumors, right? If someone is deciding that they want to spread a rumor about your child, that is a form of bullying. They may not be directly saying anything to your child or putting their hands on your child, but they are doing something that is causing social challenge or social turmoil for your child by way of spreading rumors through saying things to someone else and about your child that either may not be true or may not be anyone else's business to know. causing embarrassment, doing something where they cause your child to be embarrassed in front of others or in front of another group of people. This is also bullying, even though it can seem more indirect. And then encouraging others to exclude your child from a group, right? We don't hang out with them. We don't hang out with or we don't hang out with her. We don't hang out with him. That is bullying, right? Social bullying. You've found a way to isolate this person or to make them feel as though they are an outsider. That is a form of social bullying that goes on amongst adolescents. And then cyberbullying, especially with the increase of social media use these days. Sharing embarrassing photos and videos on the social media platforms about your child, right? That is a form of bullying. Unfortunately, I don't only see it from children. Sometimes us adults engage in that pertaining to our own children. That is bullying. Sharing embarrassing photos and videos of someone on these social media platforms is a form of bullying. And that is why we did have the session about social media, right? Because that discussion with your child to be mindful of what they're sharing is important, because once it's out there, it's out there. They may think they can delete it, but someone has probably already screenshotted it, video recorded it, and reproduced it. So those are some of the safety concerns with that, but we've touched on that and talking to your child about that. But if someone has gone ahead and used your child's photos and videos, or taken a photo or video of your child and posted it to social media, that's cyberbullying. Sending hurtful comments to your child on social media, whether it's directly or under comments of posts, these are all forms of cyberbullying. And so what you may notice as a parent, right, when you're sending your child off to school, they're just fine, right? You know, clothes looking just fine, appearance looking just fine, but they're coming home, clothes torn, damaged somewhere, or they're missing pieces of clothes, books are damaged, or other belongings seem to kind of be damaged or tampered with, right? Or unexplained cuts, bruises, and scratches, black eyes, right? They're coming home with an appearance that makes you wonder what happened at school. And this doesn't seem like this was just regular playtime or recess, but what's actually going on. And then they can't explain it, right? Then you may also notice some social or functional signs. So if your child doesn't have many friends, right? Or anyone that they spend time with, or you hear them say things like, you know, I don't have many friends. A lot of people don't want to hang out with me. A lot of people don't like me. Again, anytime I mention what you may notice as a parent, these aren't absolute, like, okay, if I see this, that means this is going on. These are just things for you to begin to ask more questions and get to know more information about going directly from your team, and they may just tell you. So not having many friends, right? Because maybe that could be their own perception, or that could be the result of they're being bullied at school, they're being teased at school, they're being excluded, right? Or you may notice low self-esteem, poor school performance, because if bullying is going on at school, the stressor is there, probably in the class, it's on the campus while they're there. How can they really focus while this is going on alongside of them trying to do what they have to do with their assignments, right? So it may begin to show up with poor performance at school, or they may even just make excuses not to go to school, right? And then also you have the emotional aspect, the emotional signs you may notice. They appear sad, moody, teary-eyed, right? Like they were crying, or they're trying to hold back tears about something, or they're about to cry. You don't actually know what's going on. You notice they're feeling anxious, or you do notice some depressed mood or depressive symptoms when they come home. And as I'm mentioning this, I'm sure for those of you who have been able to join us on at least one of the previous sessions, you may notice, like, okay, at this point, how do we know what's what? Because all these signs are kind of merging together, right? Sad, moody, anxious, depressed. Okay, so now how do we know if it's depression, anxiety, PT? That's not your job to figure out, right? That's where the clinicians come in, right? We are able to sit with them and be able to differentiate those things. But this is just you as a parent being able to know that these are common signs that something could be going on. I need to pay more attention to what may be occurring day to day for my child, because typically these signs point to something, especially when there's a combination of these things. So you may not know if it's actually anxiety or anxiety disorder, depressive disorder. You may not know what it actually is, but it's just an indicator that there could be something going on for your child. And then also, because we previously touched on it as well, the complaints about physical symptoms or ailments. So again, they don't always have the language to communicate that they are feeling a certain way, but typically your feelings and your emotions could cause physical symptoms as well. And so they usually do communicate those physical symptoms. Like if they're feeling really nervous, their stomach probably hurts as well. I'm really nervous because when I get to school, this person is there and they may say this. So they have not probably registered it or been able to verbally express it as I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling really nervous, but they know their stomach hurts. So that's probably what they'll tell you. So again, all these things do sound just like the symptoms I told you to look out for with previous sessions. But this is again because bullying, while it's not like a diagnosis or anything, it is a stressor. And so it could then lead to these other emotional and mental challenges and symptoms that your child can develop that we touched on in previous sessions. Okay, so I always first tell you what your child would need to be instructed to do. So that's what I'll start with next. And then I get to what you as a parent can do to support your child. So here's what you will encourage your child to do. And you can have this conversation with them ahead of time. It does not need to wait until something is going on. But when it comes to bullying, right, your child needs to know that if they're experiencing this, to tell an adult. And make sure that they understand that telling an adult is not tattling, right? Telling and tattling, two different things. Tattling is you just want to see somebody get in trouble. If you think of younger siblings and older siblings, I was a younger sibling. And well, I ain't gonna say I was, doing stuff just to see my sister get in trouble, but we tattled sometimes for things that didn't need to be tattled on. So stress the difference for your child between telling and tattling. Tattling is you just want to see that person get in trouble. Telling is actually with the purpose of helping someone or some particular situation, right? So situation of bullying, it's not just to see that person get in trouble, right? That's not your child's goal. But your child's goal is to get some help for what's going on or some help for maybe someone else that they see being bullied. So make sure that they know the difference. It is not tattling. Telling is about getting help. Secondly, if your child is the actual person being bullied, then you can encourage them ways to respond in these situations, right? So don't show this is interesting coming from a clinician because we're all about feelings and being able to express them. But this is probably the one time that we will encourage someone to not show their feelings. So your child needs to know that if someone is bullying them, obviously that person is not a safe person, not a safe space. That person does not have the privilege to their feelings. In fact, if they did show this person their feelings, as in getting angry or upset in the face of this bully, that actually fuels the bully, right? So bullies like to pick on people who they feel that they can control. So if they realize when I do this or I say that, look at how you get upset. Look at how you get mad. They feel they can control their victim in that way. And so this is the only time that we would encourage someone, or particularly encourage you to tell your child that in those moments, you don't give anything to that bully. You actually do put on the poker face in that moment, and you wait until you are out of the sight and presence of that bully, and in a safe space with someone where you can fully express what just happened and what just went on. Also, if they can, so as much as possible, encourage them to keep away from the bully, right? So if the bully is in their class, if there's some way that either the bully can be removed or they themselves can ask to be put in a different class. If it's at lunch and recess, they can be intentional about, the routes that they're taking or where they're playing at and things like that. Just keeping away, staying away from it, not getting involved. Now, at the same time, we know that it's not always possible, right? So in the face of actually having to interact with the bully, right? Encourage your child to show confidence. So bullies, they tend to avoid the people that they perceive have like this confidence or are overly assertive and or able to assert themselves, and they try to go after people that they perceive are lacking confidence, or maybe they present more timid and more preserved, which may give off that that person doesn't have confidence, even though it's a lot of times not true. But the bully, that's not how they're perceiving it. So they're going after people that they perceive do not have confidence. And so you want to encourage your child to make sure that they are presenting this in the instance that they do come across the bully and they were not able to avoid the bully. Even if they kind of have to just put it on in the moment, maybe they aren't feeling confident, but in that moment, teaching and practicing with them how to stand tall, speak clearly, speak with assertiveness, and directly, right? And knowing what to say in that moment. Like simply, and you can practice this with them. Okay, if they did this or said that, what can you say to them, right? And you can keep it very short. If they keep picking at you, if they keep saying things, just tell them stop. Tell them stop, no, whatever it is, but be direct, be assertive. And I encourage you to practice with them ahead of time, because if they have practiced that, they already know in that moment what they will say and how to kind of turn it on and put on that assertiveness in that moment in the face of the bully, even if they aren't necessarily feeling very assertive and confident at that moment. And then lastly, another thing that they could do when they have to interact or they weren't able to avoid the interaction is just to respond neutrally to the bully, right? So again, I mentioned that the bully is seeking to have some level of control, right? They are seeking to be able to get you mad when they want to get you mad, get you upset when they want to get you upset. So make sure that your child is aware of this, and being aware of this, they give nothing to the bully, so they can give neutral responses. And that would look like, if the bully is mocking them or teasing them, they can respond very shortly and just kind of like, okay, and yeah, sure. Just be very short, neutral. You're not giving emotion. You're not trying to verbally defend yourself and reason with them, right? Because that is exactly what the bully is trying to pull from your child. They're trying to get something out of your child. If your child never gives anything back, eventually they're like, okay, this is kind of like no fun. This is going nowhere. They're not getting upset. They're not reacting, and they may actually leave your child alone. I think of the scripture, Proverbs 9:7-9. Is whoever corrects a mocker invites insults. And so this is why we're telling you that your child trying to verbally explain themselves, defend themselves, engage with a bully is actually adding fuel to the fire. So in that moment, they're actually just going to, they're either going to avoid or not necessarily. I mean, I talked about avoid, but avoid isn't the word I'm looking for now. They're either going to not respond, right? Be unresponsive, act as if they don't even hear the taunting, the mocking, the comments. Or if they do respond, they're going to respond neutrally, like, okay. And it's the whole purpose is to not give anything to the bully, not to add fuel to the fire, and give that bully what they're seeking to get. And so this form of resistance, basically, of what the bully is intending to get out of that interaction, is similar to where we talk about, resist the devil and he will flee from you. So that's when your child is not giving that bully anything, they will likely grow bored, and they'll find, well, unfortunately, you don't want them to find someone else, but your child is not going to be their target anymore, because your child is not giving them what they are trying to get out of that situation. Now, for you as a parent, how you will support your child, right? Other than having these conversations with your child and telling them what to do in those situations, you're going to support your child by talking with them, right? I always encourage communication, and then talking with their teacher. So when you talk with your child, this can be before any form of bullying ever happens, if it ever happens at all, right? So you don't need to wait until bullying happens to have these discussions with your child. You can have these discussions ahead of time. Just getting to know who your child's friends are at school, right? Like, oh, okay, who are you hanging out with this year? Like, or, what are you guys doing at recess? Getting to know the names, getting to know the people. Again, teens have a whole life that they are living when they're off at school, and they're there for hours. And then they go there the next day, and then they go there the next day, and they go. So you really want to get into your teen's world as much as you can, or like know the characters of your teen's world as much as you can, because you're not actually physically there with them at this place that they spend a lot of time with, and with these people they spend a lot of time with. So ask a lot of questions. Just make conversation a regular part of the relationship you have with your child, and then give direction, right? So you could just let them know if anyone is mistreating you, tell an adult. And so again, you don't have to wait until a situation is occurring. This is something your child should know ahead of time. Like, in your conversations with them, whenever you get an opportunity to mention it, say something like this. Like, if anyone ever does anything hurtful or mean to you and you've told them to stop, right? And they've continued, go tell an adult. You tell your teacher, you come to me, you come to mom or dad, you tell us. You need to tell an adult if someone is mistreating you. And so being able to say that enough times to them will have it so ingrained in their mind that when a situation does happen, if one were to occur, they already know exactly what they're supposed to do. Mom and dad told me, if something like this happens and I tried to do something about it and the person keeps on, to tell an adult. And so at that point, they know basically when the battle is not theirs. They know when they've reached their end and they need to get an adult involved. They've done all that they can do as a child in this situation. And then this part is important. As a parent, if your child reaches that point where they have realized this is going on at school and I've tried to handle it myself and it's continued, and so now I'm coming to mom or dad or whomever because I realize I can't do anything about it, you as a parent, take action. Your child will learn that they will feel safe with you. They will learn that they can depend on you. They are supported by you if they know, okay, if anything gets completely out of hand and beyond me, I know that I could go to my parents. At the end of the day, I know that I can go to my parents and my parents are able to do something about this. And so you would actually let them know what you would do as well, so they can have that level of security and comfort about what's happening and what's about to happen. So you may tell them, okay, I will speak to someone about this, or I will tell them what it is you are about to do. Also, on the flip, because I think a very damaging thing within a parent-child relationship that can occur is when a child has brought something to a parent and the parent does nothing. A lot of children remember that. and it is somewhat of a traumatic experience for them. That is more actually can be more traumatic than the actual issue at hand, because it's not just this happened, but I told my parents about it and they did nothing. So that's why I say this take action is important, because your child will remember how you responded and showed up in the event that they brought a serious situation to them that they felt like they could no longer handle on their own. And then talking with a teacher. So you can share your concerns with the teacher. Let them know what you've observed, right? If you don't exactly know what's going on, but you just see something different about your child, like my child has been returning home sad lately. Have you noticed anything in the classroom? Or if your child has told you a little bit about what's going on, you can share that with the teacher, right? Or ask your child if, you know, if they're comfortable with it, or let them know that it's going to happen, that you're going to talk with their teacher, and let them know what your child has been experiencing either at their school or in their class. And then same with the teacher, ask questions, right? And this could be whether you're asking questions ahead of time just to kind of get insight on what, you know, is going on in the child's world at school, or if you have already heard about something going on or noticed something going on with your child. But you're going to ask some questions like, who does my child get along with? Who does my child usually talk to? Or if you notice signs of anyone being bullied in your classroom, or my child being bullied. So really get to know your child's world through your child directly and also through their teacher. And so when to seek help is, I would say, as soon as you find out that something is occurring for your child, socially, right? Because again, I said the reason why they're bringing it to you is because they realize this has gotten beyond me, and that's why I'm telling my parents about it. So take action, right? You don't want to wait until something serious happens and a bully or a person or a group of people have actually done some very significant damage and harm to your child. When it's even the smaller things, or what you may consider the smaller things, treat it as big, because if your child has brought it to you, that means this has gotten beyond me and I don't know what else to do. So I'm talking to you about it. And so when you seek help, you're going to talk to their teacher. If talking to the teacher isn't enough, who else can you talk to? There's a school counselor, school principal, superintendent. So basically, any of the staff at the school that you can get in touch with to remedy the situation and make school more safe for your child, or safe again for your child. And then also mental health professionals, being able to have your child talk to someone either because of their experience that has occurred or as they are going through it. And so I have Essentials for Healing there, because that's obviously us. So since you're here, you have a level of hopefully relationship with us where you feel comfortable to know that you can always reach out to us as a resource, whether you are intending to have any direct service with us, or are just interested on what our referrals are within the field of mental health and relationship dynamics. And so when to seek help is as soon as your child lets you know where to seek help. Start on the school grounds, but you can also get a professional clinician involved as well. And so before we get into the Q&A for tonight, there was a survey put into the chat. So if you can take a moment to fill out that survey, and then we will use the last few minutes for a little bit of Q&A, whether that's questions, thoughts, comments you have about tonight's topic, or any topics from the previous weeks as well.
All right, thank you, Tajale. I also copied and pasted again in the chat. So for those that are there, feel free to give us feedback, let us know how you felt about the training so that we know how to proceed in the future. Also, if you are filling out the form right now and you're able to unmute, feel free to ask your question while you're filling it out.
Yeah, so we can also begin to answer the questions and have a little discussion as some of you guys are finishing this survey.
That was a really good training, Tajale. I love how you say that normally as therapists we focus on, expressing and communicate, or pretty much expressing emotion. But when it comes to parents, when children are reporting bullying to them, it's so important that they hold it together and don't express the emotions so that the child could feel safe to express what they're going through.
Yeah, so we do always advocate for being able to express your feelings, say what's on your mind, but that is typically within a safe relationship. So if this is already an identified bully or frenemy, this is not a person that you would encourage your child to give that privilege to.
Yeah. Even going beyond bullying, that's a good tip for parents when children are reporting something that sounds crazy or severe or wild, because how a parent responds determines if the child feels comfortable to talk to that parent again. So if you put on the mask and hold it together when the child is saying something so crazy, it helps for them to feel comfortable and safe to talk to that parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, Lulu.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to say thank you because I haven't been on here long, but since I've been here, it helps me a lot, especially at the job, dealing with people, dealing with emotions, anger. It helps me a lot. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. That is
You
good
guys are
to
doing
hear.
a great job.
Thank you.
Will you guys be continuing to do this or?
So yes, so we haven't solidified a time yet, but we're thinking of bringing back this exact same series. But ongoing, we're gonna have some free trainings along the way. So I encourage you to subscribe to the website just so you can receive the announcements, because we're always gonna have trainings where there is a cost to it and trainings that are free, just to give back. And then if there's a specialized training that you would like, feel free to reach out to us, because we're very knowledgeable in the clinical area, of course, because that's our background. So we can formulate a specialized curriculum if you have something specialized within the field that you would like.
Yes, because this helps me a lot because, I have my anxiety is really bad and I've been calming down a lot because I take, the tips that you guys give us with like the breathing, how to talk to people. And people see me and they're like, who are you? What's wrong with you? And it's okay, you know? So I want to say thank you because you guys have helped me a lot and helped a lot of people. And that is really, really amazing.
Thank you. That is good. Yes, that's a win. That is definitely a win. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as well.
Of course. And your engagement has been very pleasant, so we love it.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions? Anyone else? Elsie, I want to say we recognize you. Thank you for attending. You have become a part of the Raising Emotionally Healthy Children's Family series, part of the family, part of the series. So we thank you for attending, and hopefully whatever we have going on in the future, if you find it beneficial, that you tune in as well. All right, we'll give it another minute and then we will end this meeting, and we're grateful for each of you guys. So once again, I will say, feel free to subscribe on the website, in which I'll put the website on here, and you will go on the contact page. Yes.
I have a question. Is this the only platform that you'll be using? Is there any way you can go like Facebook Live or Instagram Live?
That is a thought. I actually did have that thought on my own. So as you mentioned it, that's probably something that me and Brooke will talk about, because even as we are on here, we do know that people are also on other platforms, and we, if possible, we can probably run them at the same time. So that's actually a really good suggestion.
We're also looking to go in person as well, doing
Yes.
something we're a part of running at the same time. We have virtual presence or platform and the in person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
You're
Yes. And
welcome.
yeah, that was a really good suggestion. As you guys are finishing the survey, all those ideas,
That's
you can
great.
throw those in there on the survey, because those do help us out.
I love it. I think there is a
Excuse me.
question on there for any ways that we could better this training. Please put that on there.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Do you guys have like a
Yes.
podcast?
So that there's one in the making.
Okay.
I love
Because that
it.
would be helpful. That would be very helpful.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
And thank you, Elsie. We were so grateful to have you on here with us. We do recognize you each week and your support. We appreciate it.
I see Elsie typing in the chat. Said gladly, God bless.
Thank you. God bless you too.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Good night and
Good
bless you
night, guys.
Good
doing.
night.
Thank you
I'm
for
sorry, SN, what did you say?
I said God bless you and thank you guys for doing what you're doing. May the Lord bless and increase and enlarge everything that you're doing.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.